Martin spoke about the importance of the drug use in the gay community. Garrett spoke about how we came for the rationale for the Flux study. Now I'm going to talk about how we built and maintained this entirely online cohort of drug use among gay bisexual men in a geographically dispersed country. More specifically, I'll be illustrating how we developed an innovative tool that has been specifically designed to answer the study aims, the Flux study aims. So briefly, I'll introduce you to the Flux study team, look at how we captured this data, how we recruited for this study, how we engaged our participants being an entirely online cohort study, the capabilities that Flux is, further capabilities that Flux is capable of. And then the summary and conclusion. To start with, the study team the Flux study team is led by Garrett Prestige. The chief investigators include Jeff Jean and Lisa Mayer from the Kirby Institute, Toby Lee from the Centre for Social Research and Health, Louisa Degenhart from the National Drug and Alcohol Research Centre, Jeffrey Grayson from the Anglia Ruskin University in the UK, Adam Bourne from the Australian Research Centre in Sex, Health and Society. The associate investigators are Brent Mackey, Marcus Pastorelli and Nikki Ball from ACOR New South Wales and Colin from the Victorian AIDS Council. The study team includes myself, Jack Bradley and Stephanie McCurb. Together, this team brings in the collective intelligence and diverse expertise that have driven this study into what appears to be a world first of its kind. So, what is the Flux study aiming to achieve? Garrett briefly mentioned, extending on Garrett's rationale, the study aims are to. The Flux study intends to investigate the context and individual factors associated with the initiation and cessation of illicit and illicit drug use, describe the relationship between social and community norms, the shared understanding of risk and pleasure, and its influence on attitudes and beliefs, and the implication for HIV and HCV infection. To answer this study's aims, and based on previous studies, I think it came from the HIM study, an initial power calculation was done to estimate an 80% statistical power to detect a twofold increase in the incidence of crystal methamphetamine and erectile dysfunction medication, or a minimum of 67 cases of initiation for these drugs. So we proposed to recruit 360 men that had no history of drug use, with an average of 1.5 years of follow-up. In total, we set out to recruit 1,400 men. So now that you have to know the study aims, what are we capturing in the Flux study? So this is very brief. We've got the demographics, sexual health, illicit and illicit drug using behaviours, their associated pleasures and harms, community, friends and social engagement, the different types of relationships, sex and sexual behaviours, general and mental health, and access to services, and their attitudes towards a range of drugs and community and relationships it brings. Given that there is so much detail, on average it takes every participant anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes to complete this questionnaire. To add to this seemingly impossible task, to answer the questions of the Flux study, it couldn't be a cross-sectional study. We needed to follow these men for at least 1.5 years. Again, and as Garrett mentioned, we had limited funds to do this. So how do we track 1,400 men with a limited budget, each with a unique history and tracking a unique pattern of use? You automate it. So with that, the Flux team, so I'll introduce it to the FAME system, which stands for the Flux Automated Management E-System. So FAME, the Flux Automated Management E-System, is an encrypted and FAME is an encrypted and protected study tool that was specifically designed to track participants' progression throughout the study. The FAME process was designed to enable maximum digital management of the study and to ensure a simple, straightforward experience for participants with little researcher involvement. To give you an example of how FAME works, I'll provide you with two parallel examples. Participant 1, 2, 3 up the top and 3, 2, 1 down the bottom. Down the bottom. At baseline, participant 1, 2, 3 indicated that he has never used drugs, and participant 3, 2, 1 indicated that he has never used drugs. At first follow-up, so that's at baseline. At first follow-up and every follow-up after that, for this example, I will say that participant 1, 2, 3 stopped using drugs, and then participant 3, 2, 1 started using drugs. So since baseline to the first follow-up, there's been a change in behaviour. The automated system FAME will look back at the previous baseline responses or the most recent follow-up response and trigger the questionnaire based on the changes in behaviours, on their changes in behaviours. Further down the track, FAME will look at, I'll talk about that a bit later. So what happens now is that now that it's tracked that change, there's been a change in behaviour, FAME automatically triggers a question. So we get to investigate at what point and why people change their drug using behaviours. So we've created this system and now we embed it into the Flux study. So to give you, so all this is automated. And I'll show you how it behaves throughout the Flux study with very, very little researcher involvement. So Flux is divided into several different databases. First, the participants enter the consent form through the study website. From there, participants have the option to complete the baseline survey anonymously or join the study. If they choose to participate anonymously, they automatically get moved into the consent form. FAME will automatically paste a de-identified ID number into their baseline questionnaire. This is done to protect every participant's identity. Under no circumstances is there any identifying information ever linked to the baseline responses. If they choose to join the study, they create a Flux account, which gathers further details, further personal details to track them over the life of the study. They also have the option to provide additional consents to data linkage. Data linkage allows us to access the Commonwealth, state and national health registries and notifiable disease database. Once they complete the consent form, those who join the study have the option to delay their entry or continue on go through the baseline questionnaire straight away. If they choose to delay their entry and don't commence it within a week of follow-up, FAME will send them automatic reminders, reminding them to enter to complete the baseline questionnaire. If they choose to complete their questionnaire straight away, the FAME will again paste a de-identified ID number to the baseline and they progress through the baseline questionnaire. Again, for those who don't complete the baseline questionnaire, we do give them the option to pause their entry because it is a long survey. If they don't come back to it, again, FAME automatically sends them a reminder to complete the study, to complete that round of survey. 6 months after the completion, FAME automatically sends them an invite to the next follow-up round and automatically pushes their previous responses into the next round of follow-up. Again, they enter their follow-up rounds for the life of the study, and if they don't complete, they get the automatic reminders. So it's that system, it's that FAME system that automates this behaviour that has reduced the costs involved in running the Cohort study. We were expecting to track 1,400 participants. Sending reminders to each one isn't an option. So another part of the FAME system is to automate mass emails and send them out. So this is an example of an invite to the next follow-up round. It's addressed to their Flux name to protect if by chance someone picks up the email, it protects their identity. It also gives them their unique link to their questionnaire. So we expected 1,400 participants with 1,400 unique surveys with 1,400 links. And they also get a text message that reminds them, which has their unique link in it as well. So how does this look? The Flux study, which you know stands for the Following Lives Undergoing Change, has become Australia's first entirely online cohort study of drug use among gay bisexual men. Men aged 16 years and 16 years and a half or above living in Australia identified as gay or bisexual or had sex with a man in their previous 12 months were eligible to take part in this study. Recruitment was achieved entirely online. Being an online study, it was achieved entirely online. We advertised through a wide range of social media to reach a diverse sample of gay and bisexual men with varying degrees of community engagement. The recruitment began in September of 2014 and ended in July of 2015. So we had the study go, we started recruiting. What do our numbers look like? In total, 21,000 men clicked on the study link. So through advertising, 21,000 men clicked on the study website. 6,800 men looked at the consent form. 2,900 men completed the consent form. 2,700 men commenced their baseline survey. 2,200 men completed the baseline survey, and 1,700 men joined the study. So our projection was 1,400 men in total. We achieved 2,200. This exceeded what we set out to achieve. Just a side note, based on this recruitment, given the massive success of the first round of Flux, we've recently expanded and extended Flux to recruit another 3,000 men. So really quickly, we had a brief 3-week recruitment period, and in those 3 weeks we were able to recruit an additional 750 men that joined the cohort. So we're planning on 2,000 more once we start recruitment again. So that pretty much sums up. I'll actually talk about what our demographics look like. So 2,200 men completed the baseline survey, 1,700 men joined the study. The mean age of the sample was 33 years old. Majority identified as a male gender. Half were university educated, and more than half were in managerial and professional positions. About 7% were HIV positive, and most identified as gay. 9% as bisexual, and about 3% as other. The main thing to note about this slide is that it's similar to other demographics of research in Australia. The demographics are similar to other studies of gay and bisexual men in Australia. So they match what we've matched what they've got as well. So every presentation you see today will be based on these numbers. So the second session will be based on the 2,250 men at a cross-sectional analysis, and session 3 will look at longitudinal data. So we'll look at those 1,700 men. So that's the result of. That's how we create. That's what FAME is capable of doing. How FAME was implemented into Flux, and our results for implementing this tool. FAME is capable of a lot more. So this is how we used it, but it is capable of a lot more. To give you an idea, one of the study aims was to track networks among those who use drugs. To simplify this, we implemented this automatic tracking system. So if one participant completed the survey, at the end of the survey, they just click one button that shares it amongst their social networks. If their social networks click on this link and do the survey, they're automatically tracked. So we've got one person that shared, and 4 networks expand from that. If they in turn shared among their networks, we get to trace them back. So if we're looking at the right through the cell, we'll get to track how these networks link in. And again, if they share it, we get to see how all these networks link in together. That's all through the click of one button. How well did this work? It completely flopped. But in total, we were able to track 190 participants over 40 networks. Now that does capture a lot of people, but it's not enough to do any true analysis based on those networks. What else is Flux capable of? FAME. So although FAME was designed to be study specific to Flux, it can also be adaptable to other studies. To give you one example, is FAME has been used in the EPIC New South Wales PrEP clinical trial. So to illustrate quickly, the EPIC system is divided into two parallel databases. The clinical database which houses two systems within it, the participant database that has several follow-ups. On clinical visits, participants and the clinicians progress through the behavioural risk assessment. If the participant is eligible, they automatically the database automatically transfers the clinician into the clinical database. From there, they go through a process of the eligibility criteria, inclusion and exclusion criteria. So that's the EPIC's way of setting up their study. If they are at the completion of the clinical database, the EPIC participants are automatically sent an email similar to Flux. They've got their own link, sent to them automatically if they don't to complete their baseline questionnaire. If they don't complete their baseline questionnaire, they get automatic reminders, and similar to Flux, they're pushed in for the follow-up. They're pushed into the follow-up survey and reminders. So that's how the FAME system has been adapted into the EPIC New South Wales system. Quick summary, the Flux study addresses some highly sensitive information regarding drug use and sexual behaviour, so it was only feasible to run this study online. Part of running it online removes the social desirability, what do they call it? It's not social desirability, it's social desirability responses of participants, having an interviewer in front of them. Tracking was meant to be 1,500 participants. We could only do it online, and to grab a diverse range of participants across Australia. Again, only online. FAME is a sophisticated and adaptive tool, as I've shown. And the Flux study has now demonstrated the ability to successfully conduct an entirely online cohort study. To finish off, the main point I'd like to make. So actually, I will say this. The main what you're going to see in today's presentations are only the beginning of what Flux has captured and what Flux is capable of. The benefit of this, so the benefit of that system, is it reduces the workload and resources, and overall further protects participant confidentiality. FAME, whether tracking 2,000 men nationally or 200,000 men internationally, there is no change to the amount of money spent, the time allocated, or the resources used to run the study. I think that, we believe that the FAME system is one of the main reasons that the Flux study was so successful. Thank you.